The Council of the Intergalactic Union's Grand Chamber buzzed with an unusual tension. Around the obsidian table that stretched nearly half a kilometer, the greatest minds from 20 spacefaring civilizations shifted uneasily in their seats. Dr. Selin, the chief xenobiologist of the Zelkar Dominion, observed how the usual air of superiority had turned into discomfort. "Esteemed colleagues," High Commander Trazin's voice boomed across the chamber, "we face a situation unlike any we've encountered before. The humans have issued yet another warning." His last word dripped with disdain, sparking a ripple of nervous laughter through the chamber. The humans, who had barely been space-capable for 2 centuries, had dared to warn them, an insult to the Union, whose combined knowledge spanned millions of years. Dr. Selin rose from his seat, his golden scales gleaming under the chamber lights. "High Commander, with all due respect, I believe we must pay attention this time," he said, gesturing towards the holographic data that materialized above the table. "What you see before you isn't just data, it's a behavioral pattern that should alarm us." A murmur spread through the chamber. Councillor Ilara, whose crystalline form reflected the ambient light, spoke up. "Dr. Selin, surely you jest. These humans with their primitive quantum computing and basic fusion drives." "Primitive?" Selin, unperturbed, projected a new set of images. "Look at their history. Every time they've said, 'Beetle, please don't make us angry,' it's been followed by something extraordinary, and not in a good way." The images showed various human conflicts, events that showcased their rapid technological advancement. From powered flight to landing on their moon in 66 years, from splitting the atom to controlling fusion energy in less than a century. Each time they faced a challenge, they didn't merely overcome it, they revolutionized entire fields of science. High Commander Trazin waved a dismissive tentacle. "Coincidences and numbers, what exactly concerns you about this particular warning?" Selin's scales darkened, a sign of deep worry in his species. "They aren't warning us about their weapons or their ships. They're warning us to fear them when they're angry. There's a critical difference." He projected another hologram, this one showing human psychological data. "Every species we've encountered has predictable conflict patterns. The Krivar hive attacks in swarms. The silicon sentience uses flawless logic. We, the Zelkar, employ adaptive strategies. But humans—" Selin paused, letting the tension rise. "Humans become unpredictable, more innovative, and far more dangerous when they're angry. You suggest we should take seriously the threats of a species that still relies on chemical propulsion for their vehicles?" scoffed someone from the far end of the table. "I'm suggesting," Selin's voice sharpened, "that we look at the fate of those who ignored human warnings. Their history is filled with powerful forces that underestimated them, and those forces are not around anymore to tell their story." The chamber fell silent as a new set of data filled the air, charts showing human advancement during peacetime compared to wartime. The contrast was staggering. "And now," Selin concluded, "we are about to vote on whether to forcibly relocate their Row 7 colony. They've warned us 3 times. Each warning has been more polite than the last. That's not submission. That's them giving us every opportunity to back down." High Commander Trazin's appendages twitched in frustration. "Your concerns are noted, Doctor Selin, but we cannot allow a species as primitive as humans to challenge the authority of the Council. The relocation will proceed as planned." As the vote was called, Selin sank into his seat. He glanced around at his colleagues. Billions of years of collective scientific advancement, yet they couldn't see what was right in front of them. They weren't asking the right question. The issue wasn't what the humans could do, it was what they would do when pushed too far. The vote passed nearly unanimously. Only Selin's appendage remained lowered in opposition, As the council adjourned, he couldn't shake the sense that they had just made a grave mistake. The human's final warning echoed in his mind. "Please, don't make us angry. You really, really won't like what happens next." In the diplomatic hall aboard the Union flagship Resolute Eternity, Elena Santiago stood alone in the center of the grand room. Her crisp, deep blue uniform stood in sharp contrast to the metallic, swirling walls. Surrounding her, in tiered seating, were the most powerful beings in the galaxy. "Miss Santiago," Supreme Commander Trazin's translator conveyed his thinly veiled condescension, "you surely understand the importance of the hyperspace junction at Row 7. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of a small human settlement." Elena's smile remained steady. After 2 decades in the diplomatic corps, she had perfected the art of remaining composed while calculating odds. "Commander, I understand perfectly. That's why I'm here to give you one last warning. Don't force us to relocate." Councillor Zenra, her form shimmering, chuckled lightly. "Warn us? Your species hasn't even mastered quantum manipulation. Your fastest ships take months to cross a single solar system." "You're focusing on the wrong metrics," Elena replied, producing a small device from her pocket. The council members tensed, but it was merely a simple hologram projector, primitive by their standards. "Allow me to show you something." The hologram displayed Earth's history, moments of major technological leaps. "Do you notice anything interesting about these dates?" Dr. Selin, watching from his observation post, leaned in closer. The pattern was unmistakable. Every breakthrough coincided with times of conflict. "When pushed," Eleanor continued, "humans don't just fight back. We innovate, we revolutionize, we rewrite the rules." Trazin's tentacles rippled in frustration. "Are you threatening the might of the Union with a history lesson?" "Not a threat, a warning." Elena's smile finally faded. "There's a saying on Earth, necessity is the mother of invention. Want to guess what happens when you make survival necessary?" The chamber erupted into dismissive chatter, but Selin noticed something the others had missed. Elena wasn't afraid. She wasn't even concerned. She was pitying them. "We've analyzed your species thoroughly," declared the silicon sentient representative, its metallic voice precise and cold. "Our projections show a 99.98% probability of successful relocation with minimal resistance." Elena chuckled, silencing the room. "You've analyzed our ships, our weapons, and our visible technology, but that's not what makes us dangerous." She stepped forward, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "What makes us dangerous is what happens when you give us no choice but to win." The attack on Row 7 colony began at dawn, local time. The Council's warships descended with perfect precision, their quantum shields glowing as they moved into position. Below, 10,000 human colonists watched from the surface, but there was no panic, no evacuation, just silence. Commander Trazin watched from the flagship's command center. His appendages twitched slightly. "Status report." "No defensive measures detected," the Silicon sentient operator replied. "The colonists are gathering in the central plaza." "Proceed with relocation," Trazin ordered. The containment beams descended to transport the colonists, but instead of success, the humans vanished. Every single one of them gone. Moments later, a message echoed across all frequencies. "We warned you," Elena's voice said, calm as ever. "The colonists evacuated weeks ago. What you saw was a hologram. Primitive by your standards, wasn't it?" Dr. Selin, observing from his vessel, felt a wave of dread wash over him. "Commander, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the colony's power core." Before Trazin could respond, alarms blared. What they had believed to be a simple fusion reactor wasn't. The humans hadn't built their colony near a hyperspace junction. They had constructed a hyperspace disruption field.